Discussion on verses 1 to 19 of 19. A hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 403, describes the profound moment of the first revelation received by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. While he was in the cave of Hira, the angel Jibril, peace be upon him, appeared and commanded him with the word recite. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, responded that he was unlettered. This exchange occurred multiple times, after which the angel Jibril, peace be upon him, recited the opening 5 verses of chapter 96 Alaq.
Recite in the name of your Lord who created man from a clinging substance. Recite, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not.
This moment not only marked the beginning of revelation, but also highlighted a crucial aspect of the mission of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, his being unlettered. This characteristic was itself a powerful sign of the truthfulness of his prophethood. Had he been formally educated or known to study previous scriptures, his opponents could have claimed that he merely reproduced or adapted earlier religious teachings. However, the reality was that he had not studied such texts, nor was he known to read or write. Chapter 29 Al-Ankabut, verse 48.
And you did not recite before it any scripture, nor did you inscribe one with your right hand. Then, i.e., otherwise the falsifiers would have had cause for doubt.
Despite this, he conveyed detailed historical accounts, profound spiritual truths, and comprehensive guidance that surpassed the knowledge of his time. The people of Mecca, who were fully aware of his background, could not deny that such knowledge could not have been acquired through ordinary means. This removed any plausible claim that the message was the product of human learning or imitation. Therefore, his unlettered state was not a limitation, but rather a deliberate aspect of divine wisdom. It served as clear evidence that the knowledge he conveyed originated from Allah, the Exalted, and not from human sources. This strengthened the authenticity of the revelation, and established a firm proof for those who sincerely sought the truth. In addition, the very first verse revealed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, highlights the fundamental importance of sincerity towards Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 96 Al-Alaq, verse 1.
Recite in the name of your Lord who created.
This means a Muslim should always act and speak in order to please Allah, the Exalted. This opening command establishes a guiding principle for all actions. Everything a person says or does should be done for the sake of Allah, the Exalted. It is not merely a call to recite, but a call to align one's entire life with sincerity and purpose, ensuring that all actions are rooted in seeking His pleasure. This concept is further reinforced in a hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 196, where the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, explained that Islam is sincerity towards Allah, the Exalted. This means that true faith is not defined only by outward actions, but by the inner intention that drives those actions. Sincerity towards Allah, the Exalted, involves fulfilling all His commands and avoiding His prohibitions solely for His pleasure. As confirmed in the hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 1, all actions are judged according to intentions. Therefore, if a person performs good deeds without sincerity, they will gain no reward in either this world or the next. In fact, as mentioned in a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 3154, those who act insincerely will be told on the Day of Judgment to seek their reward from those they acted for, something that will be impossible. Chapter 98 Al-Bayyinah, verse 5.
And they were not commanded except to worship Allah, being sincere to Him in religion.
A lack of commitment in fulfilling one's duties towards Allah, the Exalted, is a clear sign of weakness in sincerity. When a person neglects their obligations, it reflects that their priorities lie elsewhere. In such cases, they must turn back to Allah, the Exalted, with sincere repentance and strive to improve. It is essential to remember that Allah, the Exalted, does not burden any soul beyond its ability. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 286.
Allah does not charge a soul except with that within its capacity.
True sincerity means consistently choosing the pleasure of Allah, the Exalted, over one's own desires and the expectations of others. It requires giving priority to what pleases Him, above all else. A person should love others and dislike wrongdoing for the sake of Allah, the Exalted, not based on personal preference. Their acts of kindness, support, and restraint from sin should all be driven by this single intention. This level of sincerity reflects a perfected state of faith, as confirmed in a hadith found in Sunan Abu Dawood, number 4681. Another essential aspect of sincerity is trusting in the decisions and decrees of Allah, the Exalted. A person must believe that whatever He ordains is ultimately best, even if the wisdom behind it is not immediately understood. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 216.
But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not.
To accept only those outcomes that conform to personal desires, while rejecting those that do not, is a clear indication of insincerity. Genuine sincerity is revealed when a person remains constant in their obedience under all conditions, whether they experience ease or hardship, by fulfilling their obligations, refraining from what has been prohibited, and responding to every situation with patience and composure, in accordance with the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Such an individual demonstrates true sincerity, as their devotion is not dependent on convenience or personal preference, but is steadfast, consistent, and unwavering in every circumstance. This level of sincerity enables a person to attain a balanced mental and physical state, as their life becomes firmly anchored in purpose and discipline. They are able to correctly prioritize and place everything and everyone within their life, ensuring that relationships, responsibilities, and personal aims are all managed with wisdom and fairness. At the same time, this consistent obedience prepares them effectively for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. As a result, this way of life leads to genuine peace of mind and stability, not only in this world but also in the hereafter, where the ultimate success and lasting tranquility are realized. Allah, the Exalted, then directs attention to one of the clearest and most accessible signs of His oneness, the creation of the human being. By inviting reflection on one's own origin, He calls people to recognize that He alone is the Creator, and therefore the only one worthy of complete obedience. Chapter 96 Al-Alaq, verse 2.
Created man from a clinging substance.
This simple yet profound description draws attention to the humble beginnings of human life, reminding people that their existence originates from something seemingly insignificant. Despite this modest origin, the human being develops into a complex and highly sophisticated creation. This transformation itself is a powerful indication of divine wisdom, power, and precise planning. Anyone who reflects sincerely on the human body will recognize that its structure and function cannot be the result of chance. The body is composed of countless systems, such as the nervous system, circulatory system, and respiratory system, all of which operate in perfect coordination. Each organ performs a specific role, yet remains dependent on others, forming an intricate network that sustains life. This delicate balance is so precise that even a minor disruption can lead to illness or death, demonstrating the need for constant regulation and control. If a simple machine or structure requires a designer, builder, and ongoing maintenance, then it is far more unreasonable to assume that the human being, far more complex than any human invention, came into existence without intention or continues to function without a sustainer. The harmony observed within the body, from the beating of the heart to the transmission of signals in the brain, reflects careful design and continuous oversight. Moreover, the development of a human being from a clinging substance into a fully formed individual, possessing intellect, emotions, and awareness, further highlights the greatness of Allah, the Exalted. This process is not random, but follows a precise and consistent pattern, reinforcing the reality of a Creator who governs every stage of existence. Therefore, reflecting on one's own creation leads to a clear conclusion: the one who brought human beings into existence with such precision and maintains them at every moment is the only one who deserves to be obeyed. Recognizing this truth encourages a person to use the blessings they have been granted in ways pleasing to Allah, the Exalted, thereby attaining a balanced mental and physical state, correctly ordering their life and preparing for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Chapter 96 Al-Alaq, verse 3.
Recite, and your Lord is the most generous.
Allah, the Exalted, then draws attention to one of the greatest gifts bestowed upon humanity, knowledge. This is not limited to basic awareness, but extends to deep understanding, learning, and the ability to develop and apply ideas that would otherwise remain unknown. Chapter 96 Alaq, verses 4-5.
Who taught by the pen? Taught man that which he knew not.
These verses highlight that all knowledge, whether worldly or religious, ultimately originates from Allah, the Exalted. Through this gift, humanity has been able to progress, build societies, and improve living conditions. Skills, sciences, communication, and systems of learning are all rooted in this divine teaching. Without this ability to acquire and transmit knowledge, human life would remain extremely limited and undeveloped. At a deeper level, however, these verses emphasize that the most important form of knowledge is that which guides a person to their Creator and teaches them how to live correctly. This is supported by a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 2645, in which the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, advised that when Allah, the Exalted, intends good for someone, He grants them understanding of Islamic knowledge. This clearly shows that true and lasting good is not found merely in material success, but in knowledge that guides one's actions and shapes one's character. Although every person desires success and well-being in both worlds, many mistakenly believe that this lies primarily in wealth, status, career, or social recognition. While these may provide temporary comfort, they cannot offer lasting peace or complete guidance. Islamic knowledge, on the other hand, teaches a person how to properly use all of these worldly blessings, how to earn lawfully, how to interact with others, and how to maintain balance in every aspect of life. In this sense, even beneficial worldly knowledge becomes a branch of religious understanding when it is used to fulfill responsibilities in a lawful and ethical manner. It is important to recognize that previous generations exerted immense effort to gain such knowledge. The righteous predecessors would travel long distances, enduring hardship, just to learn a single verse or a single hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. In contrast, access to knowledge today has been made extremely easy, yet many fail to take advantage of it. This highlights not a lack of opportunity, but a lack of priority and appreciation for where true benefit lies. Furthermore, Islamic knowledge is not restricted to rituals or distinguishing between what is lawful and unlawful. It provides a complete framework for life, teaching a person how to think, behave, and respond in every situation. It cultivates sincerity, patience, gratitude, and discipline, enabling a person to use their blessings correctly and avoid harm to themselves and others. Through this, one achieves a balanced mental and physical state, and learns to place everything and everyone in their proper position. In essence, Allah the Exalted has pointed humanity toward a source of guidance that contains the solutions to all challenges, both worldly and spiritual. However, this benefit is only attained by those who actively seek, learn, and apply this knowledge. Those who do so will find that it leads to clarity, peace of mind, and success in both worlds, through obtaining a balanced mental and physical state, and through correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. While those who neglect it may possess many worldly advantages, yet still feel a deep sense of loss and imbalance. However, as obedience to Allah the Exalted often conflicts with the desires and ambitions of people, many persist in denying or neglecting Him, despite the countless blessings He continuously grants them. Instead of recognizing these blessings as gifts from their Creator, they arrogantly behave as though they are entirely self-made and independent. Chapter 96 Alaq, verses 6-7.
No. But indeed man transgresses, because he sees himself self-sufficient.
These verses expose a fundamental weakness within human nature. When a person begins to view themselves as self-sufficient, they become prone to arrogance and rebellion. They forget their dependence on Allah, the Exalted, and begin to act according to their desires without restraint. This false sense of independence leads them to misuse the very blessings they have been granted, believing they are entitled to them rather than accountable for them. In reality, this mindset has serious consequences in this world before the next. When a person distances themselves from divine guidance, they lose the framework needed to maintain balance in their life. As a result, they fail to correctly prioritize their responsibilities and relationships. Things that should bring comfort, such as family, friendships, career, and wealth, gradually become sources of stress and anxiety. This is because they are no longer being used in the correct way or placed in their proper context. When difficulties arise, such a person often misplaces blame. Instead of recognizing the root cause within their own actions and attitudes, they blame others, such as their spouse, family members, or circumstances. In some cases, they may even distance themselves from those who genuinely care for them, believing that removing these people will solve their problems. In reality, this only deepens their difficulties, increasing feelings of isolation, anxiety, and instability. Over time, this can lead to more severe mental and emotional struggles, including depression, harmful dependencies, and even destructive thoughts. This pattern is clearly visible when observing individuals who possess abundant worldly wealth and status, yet remain deeply unsettled. Despite having access to comfort and luxury, they often struggle with inner turmoil because they have misused the blessings granted to them, and failed to align their lives with divine guidance. Their outward success does not translate into inner peace. Beyond the consequences in this world, this attitude also has serious implications for the hereafter. By living in a state of heedlessness and failing to prepare for accountability, a person risks facing a far greater loss after death. Chapter 96 Alaq, verse 8.
Indeed, to your Lord is the return.
This verse serves as a decisive reminder that no matter how independent a person may feel, they will ultimately return to Allah, the Exalted. At that point, all illusions of self-sufficiency will disappear, and every individual will be held accountable for how they use the blessings entrusted to them. Therefore, true success lies in recognizing one's dependence on Allah, the Exalted, remaining humble and using His blessings in ways that please Him. This not only protects a person from the inner turmoil caused by arrogance and misuse, but also ensures they are prepared for their inevitable return to Him. This incident involving Abu Jahl, one of the leading opponents of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is a powerful demonstration of both human arrogance and divine protection. Despite his bold claim that he would physically harm the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, while he was in prostration near the Kaaba, Abu Jahl was unable to carry out his threat. When he approached, he was overcome with fear and retreated in panic, later describing a terrifying barrier between himself and the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, explained that had Abu Jahl persisted, the angels would have seized him. This event, recorded in Sahih Muslim, number 7065, clearly illustrates that no matter how powerful or determined an opponent may appear, they are completely powerless against the will and protection of Allah, the Exalted. In response to this incident, Allah, the Exalted, revealed a series of verses in chapter 96 Al-Alaq, verses 6 to 19.
No. But indeed man transgresses, because he sees himself self-sufficient. Indeed, to your Lord is the return. Have you seen the one who forbids a servant when he prays? Have you seen if he is upon guidance, or enjoins righteousness? Have you seen if he denies and turns away? Does he not know that Allah sees? No. If he does not desist, we will surely drag him by the forelock. A lying, sinning forelock. Then let him call his associates. We will call the angels of hell. No. Do not obey him, but prostrate and draw near to Allah.
When a person chooses to follow the path of Islam sincerely, even when it differs from the practices of those around them, it can provoke feelings of discomfort or inadequacy in others, particularly if those others prioritize personal desires over submission to Allah, the Exalted. This often results in criticism aimed at the devout, sometimes even coming from close family members, reflecting a tension between worldly inclinations and adherence to divine guidance. Society at large, influenced by social media, fashion trends, and prevailing cultural norms, frequently exerts pressure on those who uphold Islamic values. Promoting Islam is often perceived as a limitation to ambitions of wealth, status, or social acceptance. Industries or communities that are critiqued by Islamic principles may actively discourage Muslims from practicing their faith, reinforcing anti-Islamic sentiment in subtle and overt ways. Individuals who strive to act with moderation, responsibly managing the blessings granted to them by Allah, the Exalted, are often opposed by those who pursue unchecked desires. These critics, indulging in impulsive behavior that Islam considers harmful and animalistic, frequently attempt to dissuade others from practicing Islam. For example, the Islamic dress code for women is a recurrent target of criticism, while professions that also impose strict dress or conduct standards, such as healthcare, law enforcement, or education, rarely face the same scrutiny. This selective opposition reveals the superficiality of such attacks. It is not the act itself, but the self-discipline and principle behind it that the critics resent. Chapter 96 Al-Alaq, verses 9-14.
Have you seen the one who forbids a servant when he prays? Have you seen if he is upon guidance, or enjoins righteousness? Have you seen if he denies and turns away? Does he not know that Allah sees?
When a person prioritizes the approval of others over obedience to Allah, the Exalted, they inevitably fall into a state of inner disorder. Choosing societal praise, fleeting admiration, or the acceptance of peers over divine guidance, leads to mismanagement of the blessings Allah has granted. This manifests as mental strain, emotional instability, physical imbalance, and disrupted relationships, leaving the individual unprepared for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Even the accumulation of wealth, status, or worldly comforts cannot fill the void created by spiritual neglect, as inner turmoil continues to affect every aspect of life. Chapter 96 Al-Alaq, verses 15-18.
No. If he does not desist, we will surely drag him by the forelock. A lying, sinning forelock. Then let him call his associates. We will call the angels of hell.
In contrast, unwavering commitment to sincere obedience of Allah, the Exalted, safeguards the individual from such ruin. Chapter 96 Al-Alaq, verse 19.
No. Do not obey him, but prostrate and draw near.
Through steadfast obedience, a person draws closer to Allah, the Exalted, and aligns their actions with divine wisdom rather than worldly desires. This loyalty allows them to use their blessings in a balanced and responsible manner, fostering mental clarity, physical health, and emotional stability. It also enables them to place all aspects of their life, relationships, work, and personal aspirations in their proper context, ensuring that they are prepared for the ultimate accountability on the Day of Judgment. Such dedication produces inner tranquility that is independent of external circumstances. A person who consistently obeys Allah, the Exalted, will navigate both ease and hardship with patience and insight, avoiding the extremes of despair in adversity or arrogance in comfort. Their actions become a source of ongoing reward, as they maintain peace of mind, strengthen their character, and secure blessings in both this life and the next. Ultimately, sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, establishes a harmony that worldly pursuits alone can never achieve, guaranteeing spiritual, mental, and physical fulfillment alongside eternal success. To maintain a steadfast and resilient mindset, it is essential to cultivate a strong and unwavering faith. Such faith serves as the foundation for consistently obeying Allah, the Exalted, in all circumstances, whether one faces ease or hardship. This steadfastness is nurtured through the careful study and application of the clear signs and guidance provided in the Holy Quran, and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. These sources illustrate that true devotion and obedience to Allah, the Exalted, bring enduring peace and contentment in both this life and the hereafter. In contrast, those who remain unaware of Islamic principles often possess a fragile and uncertain faith, making them more susceptible to deviation from the path of obedience. When personal desires or societal pressures conflict with divine guidance, such individuals are more likely to follow their impulses rather than the commands of Allah, the Exalted. This lack of understanding obscures the realization that restraint of self and adherence to Allah's directives are essential for attaining true inner peace and balance. Therefore, it is imperative for a person to actively strengthen their faith by seeking knowledge of Islam and applying it in daily life. This involves not only learning about the obligations, prohibitions, and ethical teachings prescribed by Allah, the Exalted, but also striving to implement them in all aspects of life. By doing so, a person learns to use their blessings responsibly, achieve harmony of mind and body, and correctly prioritize their relationships, work, and personal goals. In this way, the cultivation of strong faith leads to a life of balanced contentment, unwavering obedience, and preparation for accountability on the Day of Judgment. Chapter 96 Alaq, verse 19.
But prostrate and draw near.
In general, in Islamic teachings, the establishment of the obligatory prayers is repeatedly emphasized because prayer forms the central pillar around which all righteous actions revolve. It is the primary means through which a person maintains a living connection with Allah, the Exalted, and remains firm upon obedience despite the distractions and pressures of worldly life. Genuine prayer, however, is far more than a set of physical movements. It is an act of conscious humility that anchors the worshipper to the reality of the hereafter. This humility develops when the worshipper recognizes that each posture of the prayer symbolizes a scene from the Day of Judgment, reminding them of their ultimate accountability before their Creator. For this reason, the 5 daily prayers are distributed throughout the day rather than being performed at one time. Each prayer interrupts the flow of worldly activity, offering a renewed opportunity to reflect, recalibrate, and realign one's conduct with divine guidance. When the worshipper stands upright in prayer, this posture should evoke the image of humanity standing before Allah, the Exalted, on the Day of Resurrection. Chapter 83 Al-Mutaffifin, verses 4-6.
Do they not think that they will be resurrected? For a tremendous day, the day when mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds.
When the worshipper bows, this movement serves as a reminder of those who will be reproached on the Day of Judgment for refusing to bow to Allah, the Exalted, during their earthly lives. Chapter 77 Al-Mursalat, verse 48.
And when it is said to them, bow in prayer, they do not bow.
This reproach extends beyond physical bowing. It includes the refusal to submit practically to the commands of Allah, the Exalted, in all aspects of life. When the worshipper prostrates, this posture recalls the moment on the Day of Judgment when people will be summoned to prostrate before Allah, the Exalted. Those who failed to prostrate correctly in this world, meaning those who did not obey Him sincerely in their conduct, will find themselves unable to do so on that day. Chapter 68 Al-Kalam, verses 42-43.
On the day when matters become dire, they will be invited to prostrate themselves but will be prevented from doing so. Their eyes humbled, humiliation will cover them. And they used to be invited to prostration while they were sound.
When the worshipper sits upon their knees during the prayer, this posture should evoke the scene described for the Day of Judgment, when all people will be gathered before Allah, the Exalted, in a state of fear and humility, awaiting the final outcome of their deeds. Chapter 45 Al-Jatiyah, verse 28.
And you will see every nation kneeling from fear. Every nation will be called to its record and told, today you will be recompensed for what you used to do.
A person who performs the prayer while consciously reflecting on these meanings establishes their prayer in the correct manner. Such a prayer strengthens the heart, disciplines the soul, and ensures sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, in the periods between the prayers. Chapter 29 Al-Ankabut, verse 45.
Indeed, prayer prohibits immorality and wrongdoing.
This obedience is expressed through using every blessing granted by Allah, the Exalted, in ways that are pleasing to Him, following the guidance laid out in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. By doing so, a person cultivates a balanced mental and physical state, aligning their thoughts, actions, and priorities in harmony with divine guidance. They are able to correctly place everything and everyone within their life, ensuring that relationships, responsibilities, and personal endeavors are handled with wisdom, justice, and mindfulness. At the same time, this conscientious use of blessings prepares them fully for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Such consistent and purposeful behavior results in true peace of mind, providing stability, fulfillment, and spiritual contentment both in this world and in the hereafter. Chapter 96 Al-Alaq, verse 19.
But prostrate and draw near.
Therefore, a person must sincerely accept and act upon Islamic teachings for their own well-being, even when doing so conflicts with their personal desires. This can be compared to a wise patient who follows a doctor's advice, taking bitter medicines and adhering to a strict regimen, fully trusting that the treatment will restore their health. Just as the patient attains physical and mental well-being by following guidance grounded in knowledge, a person who embraces Islamic teachings attains balance in both mind and body, and learns to place everything and everyone appropriately in their life. The reason for this is that only Allah, the Exalted, possesses the complete knowledge necessary to guide a person toward a harmonious life. Human understanding, whether from society, research, or professional advice, is inherently limited by experience, foresight, and biases. While humans may alleviate certain issues, they cannot guarantee freedom from all mental or physical stress, nor can they ensure the correct alignment of priorities and relationships in one's life. In contrast, Allah the Exalted has conveyed this comprehensive guidance through the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The truth of this guidance becomes apparent when one observes the lives of those who follow Islamic teachings versus those who neglect them. Unlike the patient, who often follows medical advice without fully understanding the underlying science, Allah, the Exalted, invites people to reflect upon his teachings, providing them with clear evidence of their wisdom and benefits. Blind adherence is not required. Rather, people are encouraged to approach the teachings of Islam with an open and unbiased mind, recognizing their truth through reflection and insight. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
Furthermore, as Allah, the Exalted, alone governs the spiritual heart, the true seat of peace of mind, He alone determines who is granted tranquility. Chapter 53 and Najm, verse 43.
And that it is He who makes one laugh and weep.
It is therefore evident that Allah, the Exalted, bestows peace of mind only upon those who correctly utilize the blessings He has granted them, in accordance with the guidance provided in Islamic teachings. Those who act in alignment with this divine wisdom experience both inner harmony and the ability to navigate life's complexities with clarity, patience, and confidence. Chapter 16 and Nahl, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.